Today is the 15th of October 2025. The day before yesterday, I mainly talked about even momentary concentration can hold defilements at bay when it is developed continuously. The longer you sustain consecutive moments of concentration, the farther the defilements recede, the deeper the concentration becomes, and the more likely it is for insight to unfold. At the end of the talk, at the end of that talk, I briefly introduced the 5 hindrances. These 5 hindrances are mental factors that halt, hinder, block, or obscure the mind. They break the momentum of practice, preventing clarity, stability, and the deepening of insight. These are not mere distractions, they actively obstruct progress on the path by weakening mindfulness, scattering attention, and fueling defilements. They are 5 in kind. Among these 5, the third, Nyanavudha, sloth and torpor, and the 5th, Vicikiccha, doubt, have already been discussed in detail when we cover the 5th and 7th armies of Mara. However, we will still discuss them as there are meditators who haven't heard about them. The first hindrance is Kama Chanda. Kama means sense object, things we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or think about. Chanda means desire or craving. Chanda means desire or craving. So, Kama Chanda is the desire or craving for sense objects, wanting pleasing sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, or thoughts. But what does karma, the sense objects, really mean? When we say karma, karma refers to sense object. It doesn't just mean the external things like food, music, fragrance, or physical sensation. More specifically, In the Pali Canon, kama means those objects which are desired. Those objects which are desired, things that attract the mind through the senses. They are called kama because beings crave them or they are desired. Here is a simple example. Let's say you store food or something sweet in your home. Why? Because you desire it, you find it pleasant, but you are not the only one. You are not the only one. When the food is left out and scum, because they too desire it. While the ants are eating, flies show up because they also desire that same food. So the food becomes an object of desire. Food becomes an object of desire for many beings, not just humans. So this shows that what we call karma is not just my desire, but something universal desire by being desire with sense faculties. So this example helps us understand two things. Sense object karma are not inherently mine or inherently pleasurable. They gain significance only because the mind projects desire onto them. And craving for these objects is not unique to humans. Even the smallest creatures are driven by desire of sense contact. Uh, this is the shared condition of samsara. The sense object is compared to a raw piece of meat. Compared to a raw piece of meat, imagine a group of kites in the sky. One of them grabs hold of a chunk of flesh and flies off with it. Immediately, the other birds begin to chase it, attacking it with their beaks and claws, trying to snatch the meat away. The first bird, now under constant attack, beaten, clawed, pegged, chased, eventually it can't take the suffering anymore. So it lets go of that flesh. That the moment it drops it, another bird catches it, and now that bird becomes the target. The chasing, biting, and suffering continues. So this simile shows that. And as long as you hold onto the piece of flesh, you will suffer. In the same way, as long as you cling to sense objects, you are vulnerable to pain, competition, fear of lose, and dissatisfaction. You may think you are enjoying something, but you are also defending it, fearing its lose, or craving more. The pleasure comes mixed with suffering. This is the example given in the text about the sense object. Now let's discuss about the sense desire. Sense desire is like being in debt. Imagine you have borrowed money from someone and haven't paid it back yet. When you are in that position, especially if you cannot repay on time, you are no longer equal. You must act respectfully toward the creditor, even if they insult or mistreat you. You may feel compelled, but to endure it silently because you are under pressure, you owe them. In the same way, when you are attached to sense objects, you end up treating them with special reverence. Not because they deserve it, but because you are emotionally invested. If it is a new brand car, you handle it with extreme care, afraid even of a small scratch. If it is a new outfit, you might avoid sitting just anywhere or even keep it hidden away in a closet, fearing someone might borrow it or damage it. If the object of attachment is a person, you may speak and behave with exaggerated caution, always trying to please them, afraid to upset them, not out of loving kindness, but out of fear of losing the attachment. In all these cases, you are no longer free. The object controls you, not the other way around. Just like a debtor loses their independence, a person born by sense desire loses their freedom. They lose freedom from defilements because the mind is still leaning toward craving. They become attached to pleasant thoughts, the thought they want to think, plan, or fantasize about. These thoughts keep arising, pulling the mind away from the present moment. So that means they show preference of pleasant sensation and aversion toward discomfort. They barely manage to sit for an hour, not because of true physical limitation, but because they unconsciously respect the body out of desire, always seeking comfort. They lose freedom to turn inward because craving keeps pulling attention outward towards sight, sounds, memories, as imagine experiences, and so on. As long as sense desire is present, the mind is not truly free. It is tied, bound, and constantly negotiating with craving. So, but you, when you become debt free, it's no longer necessary to show respect out of obligation. You are no longer forced to endure insults or mistreatment. You may choose to be respectful, but it's not optional. It's optional, not a burden. In the same way, when you are free from sense desire, you are no longer bound by attachment or craving. You are free to observe. You are free to observe whatever arises in the present moment, pleasant or unpleasant, without discrimination, without resistance, without bias. You don't have to cling to what feels good, or push away what feels uncomfortable. You are no longer enslaved by preferences. So this is how sense desire is like debt. It ties you to conditions, to reactions, to suffering, and this is how freedom from sense desire is like being debt free. You gain your inner dignity, balance, and true freedom. So this is about the first hindrance, kama chanda, sense desire. The second hindrance is vyapada, in Pali, ill will or aversion. Vyapada refers to any form of anger, hatred, irritation, resentment, or mental resistance. It can be violent or non-violent, cruel or subtle, ranging from explosive anger to a quiet sense of displeasure. In meditation, this hindrance often appears in more subtle forms, like displeasure with the meditation experiences, irritation toward bodily discomfort or pain, frustration with wandering thoughts or a restless mind, even a slight resistance to what's happening such as not wanting to feel a particular sensation or being annoyed with the slowness of progress, can quickly evolve into subtle to over form of aversion. So Vyapada isn't just about shouting or violence. It includes the inner tightening, the silent rejection, the quiet mental no to whatever is happening. And this ill will, Vyapada, is compared to a serious illness like someone with a high fever or malaria. When you are sick in that way, your sense of taste, your sense of taste is affected. Even sweet or well prepared food tastes bitter or unpleasant, no matter how much you normally like it. You can't enjoy it. You can't enjoy it in the same way. In the same way, when the mind is filled with anger or resentment or even wise advice or kind words can feel bitter and unacceptable. A well-wisher may try to console you out of compassion, but because of the anger, it feels like an attack, or you may wrongly believe they are siding with someone else. Even Dhamma admonition, a gentle reminder from a virtuous person, can be interpreted as criticism or judgment. No matter how good or true something is, when you are caught in anger, you can't receive it well. The mind is closed, distorted, and inflamed, just like the tongue during a fever. During a fever. And even during meditation, when ill will or aversion is present, the mind becomes very much like a person suffering from a serious illness. Just like a sick person loses their ability to enjoy even their favorite foods, the meditators with aversion finds that none of the meditation objects feel acceptable. None of the meditation objects feel acceptable, none of the conditions seem pleasant, everything feels irritating. Everything feels irritating, uncomfortable, or wrong. Even neutral sensations are perceived as unpleasant. The posture feels unbearable, the breath feels unsatisfying, and thoughts seem aggressive or intrusive. It becomes difficult to stay with anything because the mind keeps rejecting whatever arises. In that state, the problem is not the object. In that state, the problem is not the object, but lens of aversion through which everything is being viewed. So until that ill will is seen clearly and softened, it's like trying to meditate with a fever, restless, uncomfortable, and discontent at every turn. So, yogis, how many times do you get sick in a day? But just as you recover from that sickness, your sense of taste gradually returns. Food starts to taste normal again, even enjoyable. What once felt bitter now feels pleasant, nourishing, and satisfying. The body relaxes and the mind becomes lighter. In the same way, when ill will fades from the mind, a profound shift happens. The meditation object becomes acceptable again. Even simple things like the breath or the body sensation feel okay to stay with. The mind is no longer rejecting the present moment. So ease and acceptance arise naturally, kindness and clarity return, and you begin to see the things as they are, not through the distortion of anger. So this is about the second hindrance, that is vyapada or ill will. The third one, the third one, the third hindrance is tina midda, sloth and torpor. The tina midda is the hindrance of sloth and torpor, or state where the mind becomes dull. Mind becomes dull, sleepy, heavy, and disinterested, unwilling to engage with the meditation object or with the Dhamma. And this hindrance can manifest in different ways, of foggy, heavy mind that cannot stay alert, a drooping posture, or a strong desire to lie down or sleep, lack of interest or motivation in the practice, a sense of mental shutdown where attention collapse inward. So it is compared to a prison. It is compared to a prison. Imagine a man who is imprisoned on a festival day, while the entire city is celebrating music, lights, joy, sharing stories and teaching. He is locked away. He is locked away, unable to see the beginning, the middle, or the end of the event. The next day, when he is released, he hears others joyfully talking about the festival, how wonderful it was, what was said, what was learned, but he has nothing to say because he did not experience any of it, because he was not present. In the same way, a practitioner who is overcome by sloth and torpor, even if sitting in a Dhamma talk or a meditation session, do not know or understand the beginning, the middle, or the end of it. They may be physically present, but the mind is imprisoned, dull, disengaged, and absent. Afterward, when others reflect on the talk, sharing how profound, inspiring, or moving it was, the person has nothing to say, not because they don't care, but because they were not truly there. And the, the same uh, thing in meditation, a practitioner affected by sloth and torpor does not experience the session fully. They miss the subtle calmness, the rising joy, the clarity of mindfulness. Later, when other meditators share their experiences about rapture, bliss, equanimity, this person remains silent even when not asleep. The mind is so clouded that it cannot receive, absorb, or reflect on what is being taught or experienced. So again, yogis, how many times a day you go into the prison? But if the person is freed from prison in time, they are able to join the festival. They can see the beginning, the middle, and the end of it. They experience the joy, the meaning, the teachings, and the connection with others. Later, when people talk about the event, how beautiful it was, how inspiring the teachings were, they can also speak, reflect, and rejoice because they were fully present. In the same way, when a meditator is free from sloth and torpor, they are able to fully engage with the present moment. The mind becomes clear instead of foggy, bright instead of dull, energetic instead of lazy, receptive instead of shut down. They can absorb the beginning, middle, and the end of the meditation object, whether it is the rising and falling, sensations, pause, or awareness itself. They can stay with it, they can learn from it. If during a Dhamma talk, the teachings touch the heart, wisdom is able to arise, and reflection becomes natural, joy and inspiration are felt, the mind is awake and present, no longer a prisoner. So this is about the third hindrance, sloth and torpor. The fourth hindrance is uddhacca, kukucca, restlessness and remorse. This hindrance is actually a combination of two related mental disturbances. Uddhacca means restlessness, the unsettled, agitated, distracted state of mind that jumps from thought to thought, unable to stay still or focused, where kukucca means remorse or guilt, a sense of regret, or uneasiness or self blame about things done or left undone in the past. So together they form a powerful obstacle. The mind is either restlessly looking outward or uneasily looking backward. Restlessly looking outward or uneasily looking backward, but never at peace in the present. To understand this hindrance more deeply is helpful to know that remorse or the guilt comes in two main forms. The first is remorse over not doing good. Remorse over not doing good. This is the guilt that arises when one fails to perform wholesome actions despite having had the opportunity. For example, not helping someone in need, not practicing Dhamma when the chance was there, not keeping precept, not speaking kindly when you could have. So this is the regret of having missed a chance to missing a chance to do what was right. The second is remorse over having done wrong. This is the guilt that arises from having done something unwholesome in the past. For example, saying something hurtful, breaking a precept, acting out of anger or greed. This is regret of having done what should have been avoided. So in short, guilt arises when we fail to do what should have been done, or when we do what should have been avoided. And these hindrances compare to being a slave. A slave has no freedom. He lives under the control of his master with no right to choose where to go or what to do. Even during the great festival, if his master commands him to go somewhere or do something, he cannot say no. He must obey even if it means missing the joy, the, the teachings, and the celebration. In the same way, a meditator overcome by restlessness and remorse becomes a slave of the mind's demand. Mind's demand, the mind says, think about the past, and you go. The mind says, worry about the future, and you obey. The mind drags you from object to object, memory to memory, regret to regret. Even if you are sitting in a Dhamma talk or a quiet meditation hall, the mind is not free. It is constantly being pulled around, unable to enjoy or absorb the moment. But if you are not a slave or you are being freed from slavery, then you have freedom over your own actions. During a festival, you can choose to stay, to enjoy, to participate fully. You are not forced to go here or there against your will. You are present and you can receive the joy, teachings, and blessings of the moment. In the same way, when the mind is free from restlessness and remorse, you regain the freedom to remain with the present moment. You are no longer dragged by thoughts of the past. You are not pushed around by worries about the future. The mind is stable, still, and at peace. You can stay with the abdomen, the body, or awareness without being pulled away. So this is fourth, about the fourth hindrance, restlessness and remorse. The fifth one, the fifth and final hindrance is vichikicha, which means doubt, uncertainty, or wavering in the mind. This is not the healthy kind of questioning that leads to investigation. It is a paralyzing or unresolved inner conflict that prevents commitment, clarity, and progress in practice. It shows up as doubt about the practice, like, is this really working? Doubt about the Dhamma or teaching, is this really true? Maybe doubt about the teacher, can I trust that person's guidance? Doubt about oneself, am I capable? Can I really do this? So doubt rise. And this doubt is compared to a man, doubt is compared to a dangerous wilderness road. Uh, a man walking along a dangerous wilderness road. As he travels, he sees signs that robbers have attacked and looted others there. He notices spots where people were plundered or even killed. Then suddenly he heard the sound of sticks breaking or even just the call of birds, and immediately he becomes suspicious and afraid, thinking that robbers are coming. Fear and uncertainty take over. He walks a little, then he stops. He walks a little, then he stops, then turns back, unsure whether to move forward or retreat. His mind is caught in constant hesitation. In the end, he spends more time standing still or turning back than making actual progress. So in the same way, a doubting meditator is like that traveler on the dangerous road. They become uncertain, hesitant, afraid of commit to practice. They begin to question everything. Is this right path? Am I doing this correctly? Should I try something else? And so on. Even small, unrelated things like a minor discomfort or a stray thought can trigger more doubt and anxiety. They move forward a little, then stop. They move forward a little, then stop. Then retreat. They start again, but doubt arises and they lose momentum. More time is spent in indecision, that is in real practice, just like a traveler never rarely reaches his destination. The doubting mind does not settle, does not deepen, and does not see clearly. But if the man bravely if the man bravely travels forward with a brave and skilled guide by his side, someone who knows the road, who understands the danger and how to avoid them, then even though the path is dangerous, he keeps going. They may face challenges, uncertainty, and the signs of threat along the way, but with guidance, courage, and persistence, he eventually passes through the wilderness and reaches safety. He crosses over the fear, the hesitation, and the danger. In the same way, a meditator who practices with trust in a wise teacher, confidence in the teaching and guidance from the noble path, can overcome the vicikiccha, doubt. Even when uncertainty arises, they don't turn back, they keep going, they listen, they reflect, they apply what they have learned, what they have been taught. Slowly, the fog of doubt lifts, confidence grows, the mind becomes steady, faith is no longer blind, it is grounded in a direct experience, and just as the traveler safety reaches the destination with the help of guide, the meditator reaches his destination with clarity, with faith and inner strength. This is about the fifth hindrance, the vicikiccha. So these are the explanation and comparisons of the five hindrances given by the Buddha himself. Given by the Buddha himself in the Samanyaphala Sutta. The name of the sutta is Samanyaphala, the discourse on the fruits of the contemplative life. The discourse on the fruits of the contemplative life. So may you all come to understand how hindering and obstructive these hindrances truly are, and through that understanding may you be free from debt, from sickness, from prison, from slavery, and from dangerous, suspicious wilderness road.